everybody. Welcome back to the Royal Read. I am so glad you decided to stop by and see what I'm reading on. But before we get started, the way we do it over here, we always do our shout outs first, and then and only then we get into the podcast. So let's get started. Let's play that beautiful bean footage, and we'll talk on the other side. All right, y'all. I want to give a quick shout out to all of the readers who took time out of their day and just came on through to support the channel, and it is so greatly appreciated. And first up is Donetta Dacosa. Yes, Donetta has been a part of this community for a while. She is a ride or die, always down with the read, always supporting. She is the best. She is so kind and so sweet, and I am so grateful for her. So thank you, Donetta. Thank you for the super thanks, but most of all, thank you for being here. And cool Cat Harlem came through. Yes, the coolest came through. She did. She is always coming through. She's always supporting. She is always sharing her knowledge. And let me tell you, she is knowledgeable. She is. And I am so grateful to her for all the support that she is constantly giving. So thank you, Kat. Thank you for the super thanks. But most of all, thank you for being here. And my guy, Kevin Slims. Yes, Kevin came on through as usual. Kevin is so supportive. He is always coming through. He is a ride or die. He is so kind and so caring. He is just wonderful. So thank you, Kevin. Thank you for the super thanks, but most of all, thank you for being here. All right, y'all. Y'all know what time it is, and y'all know what I do when I am putting the read together. I hit these internet streets, and let me tell you, that's where I've been. And we have a lot to talk about because it has been announced that Meghan and the children will not be accompanying Prince Harry to the UK. And all I can add to that is surprise, surprise. We all knew that this was probably going to be the outcome because we know that Prince Harry, he'll play about some things, but one thing he never plays about, and that's his family. So after we found out that he was not going to get security and neither was Meghan and the children, well, we knew exactly what was going to come next. And that was this announcement on, what was it, Friday or Saturday? And I kid you not, I live in the US, and I'm telling you, now it was faint, but I do believe I could hear the hearts breaking of all the flying monkeys over there on Fleet Street, way over here. Yes, I could have sworn I heard all of the moaning and the groaning and the whinging and the wailing, the gnashing of teeth, the sucking of snot, and the holding of stomachs all the way over here in the US. Yes, it was just that bad when they found out that their cash cow, that their goose who lays the golden eggs, was gonna be a no-show. And the cherry on top for me was when they found out that they wasn't even going to get the consolation prize, which would have been them drinking the salty tears of the Sussex squad. Yes, they really thought we were going to feel something. I guess they thought we would feel disappointment. And in actuality, they have to sit back and watch the Sussex squad rejoice in the fact that our fave, Meghan Sussex, never has to place her size 7.5 Aquazora pump on that small island nation ever again. Yes, we are rejoicing. Yes. And so they don't even get the pleasure of drinking our salty tears because we don't have salty tears. All we have to offer is tears of joy. And they don't want any part of that. Yes, we only have tears of joy to serve up to the derangers, to the ugly old hags, to the toadies, to the haters, to all of the flying monkeys and derangers. And because of that, they pretty much have a lose-lose situation. Yes, they are absolutely in shambles. They are really showing signs of depression, yes, because they are not going to get to have their Super Bowl. Y'all remember I said maybe 2 or 3 podcasts back that Meghan showing up to that small island nation would be like those flying monkeys on Fleet Street's Super Bowl. And now they're finding out because of Willie and Charles, they're not going to have it. And so they're crashing out a little bit. And I love it because us squatties, we didn't want her to go anyway. I mean, can you imagine? Now, you were looking forward to Meghan being over there so you could have all of these panel discussions, all of these articles written, everything. And then that is snatched away from you. All I can say is, ouch. That really must hurt. But I love it. Squatties are loving it. And we're going to talk about it. Yes, we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about some other stuff. Y'all know I always have other things sprinkled in there a little bit. And we just have a lot to talk about. So what y'all need to do, y'all need to lock in and understand I'm not going to keep you long, but I will keep you entertained. And we're going to start with this. And I know y'all heard about it already that Meghan and the children will not be accompanying Prince Harry to the UK. Now, some of the rags over there and some of the so-called news organizations, they are still going through the 5 stages of grief. And they are presently in the first stage, which is denial. They cannot accept the fact that their Super Bowl, their World Cup, has been snatched away, and it's no way that it ever is going to happen. So what do? They make up a whole new narrative. And their new narrative is that even though Meghan is not going to be with Prince Harry in London, she might just show up at the 1 year to go event in Birmingham. And that Meghan and the children still might meet with Charles, and of course, they might still be able to go to Princess Diana's gravesite at Althorp. Yes, this is the narrative that they're holding on to because they're unable to progress through the 5 stages of grief and get to number 5, which is acceptance. Yes, they cannot accept the fact that Meghan Sussex and those babies are going to be a no-show. I cannot with these people. They absolutely make their beds and then can't believe that they have to sleep in them. It makes no sense. But the Telegraph said Meghan and the children not coming to London with Harry. This is what I'm saying. This is the narrative that they're pushing, that she's just not coming to London, not the UK, just London. It says hopes of the family reunion with the king in doubt after Duke's request for police protection denied. Now, Harry was given a phone number to a police liaison, and you think that he is going to allow his family to come over to a country with no security? Is that what you think? But they are still stuck in denial. It says, while the Duchess and the children will not come to London, the family has not ruled out the prospects of them traveling to Britain. The Duchess had been due in Birmingham on Friday to join her husband at the Invictus Games 1 year ago. Denial. Denial is not just a river in Egypt, is it not? And of course, we all know when blame is passed around, when it comes to that family over there, the blame always somehow lands on Meghan. Yes, they will tie themselves in knots in order to find any angle that they can to blame everything, including global warming, on Meghan. Y'all remember about that avocado toast? Yes, they were saying Meghan was causing drought because she had avocado toast for breakfast. So, yeah, they blamed everything on Meghan. And if they have to twist themselves in knots, so be it. This squatty said, laugh out loud. Now it's Meghan's fault. But 2 days ago, these people were saying Meghan was coming because she wants to use the royal connection to stay relevant. Now she's not coming and they're blaming her. Yeah, they never give Meghan a out, do they not? I'm telling you, I cannot with these people. And this is what it was said on GB News. Now, I'm not going to play the clip because it's that little weasel who was a butler just for a moment in time over there at Highgrove for Charles. His name is Grant Arnold, and he did not leave Charles' employment on really good terms, if you know what I mean, because it's my understanding that he sued to get a settlement because something went down. They say that it was bullying, allegedly, and that is the reason why he left Charles's employ. The details are a little murky, if you know what I mean. I don't know if he was let go or fired, but he did win a settlement. But they don't ever talk about all the travesty that is attached to all these people who get up on these panel shows and spew all their bile over Meghan, someone who hadn't bullied them or did anything to them. But yet and still, they will get on the gravy train trying to smear her and make a dollar. And that is exactly what's going on here with Grant Arnold. But I digress. It says she just doesn't want to come. Grant Arnold says it is unfair to King Charles that Meghan refused to bring Archie and Lilibet to Britain with Harry. Yeah, how unfair it is to the king of a nation that has all the power to provide security for his grandchildren and his daughter-in-law, and his son chooses not to and still plays the victim, saying that it's unfair to him that Harry doesn't risk his family's lives just so Charles can see grandchildren he doesn't give two shits about. It makes no sense. If you can make sense of it, please put it in the comments and break it down like I am 5 years old, because I can't make any sense of it. These people are totally out of their minds. Can you believe that? I mean, will they not twist themselves in knots trying to shield and bootlick for that family? They want to say it's Meghan's fault. It's always Meghan. How dare Meghan not bring the children? Meghan, how selfish of her. Yes, how selfish of her to value her life and the lives of her children. This is why Harry do not play with these people. They are so unserious. I mean, they really think that Meghan somehow should just come anyway and just be reckless like that. All because they want to sit on panel shows, because they want to write articles, that they want to see the children's faces, that they want to have their World Cup. Yes, they want to have their week of articles and panel shows and just all of the hoopla and all of what comes with the successes they want to indulge. And what is so amazing to me is how they twist themselves and tie themselves into knots in order to blame Meghan, and not who is really to blame, and that would be that absolutely weak, trash Charles. This other squatty came up under this post and said, I knew they were all included. Piers Morgan pretending like they didn't want to see her. No one in the world is more obsessed by Meghan than people who claim they hate her. Where is the lie? Twisted fans. That's all they are, twisted fans. Those flying monkeys over there on Fleet Street, they are in shambles about all of this. And I personally love it. And this right here is a repost. And the original post, the squatty posted this article from the Telegraph, and it says, for Archie and Lilibet to meet the king, it's now or never. Yes, they are absolutely in their fields because they're not going to get their Super Bowl. They're not going to get their World Cup. And it's starting to really soak in. And so we are getting these kind of headlines. I mean, just begging Meghan to risk her life and the lives of her children in order to have their moment so they can make some money, get some clicks. Yes, get out of the red, because we all know that those rags over there across the pond is drowning in red ink. They are. And this right here, they really thought if they could get this World Cup, and Meghan actually came and the kids actually came and they got that money shot of Charles with the kids, or just a front facing picture of the children, that money shot, maybe, just maybe, they could get in the black. But no, it was snatched away, and now all that is left is desperation. The squatty that posted this said, spare us at Royal Family. If Charles really wanted to see his grandchildren, he would provide security like the late Queen did for the family in 2022. Nobody is emotionally blackmailing him. He does not care about his grandchildren. And that right there is nothing but facts. Facts on facts on facts. And we have a receipt due to what the Queen did. The Queen wanted to see her great grandchildren, and guess what? She made it happen. Charles doesn't care anything about these grandchildren. I don't believe he cares anything about the ones that are over there with him. He doesn't spend time with George and Charlotte and Louis. They don't know him. He is a stranger. The Queen used to spend the summer with her grandchildren. They all would come. They would ride ponies. You can't say the Queen did not make an effort to be a grandmother. Charles makes no effort. So miss me with that nonsense. And just like this squatty said, if he really wanted to see them, he would make it happen. He is the king of the United Kingdom, for God's sake. And this other squatter reposted that and said, this is what you call emotional blackmail. I said to people previously, it's clear Charles wants Harry to prove how badly he wants this relationship by knowingly putting his own family in danger by dropping the security issue and proving his loyalty to Charles. Forget about Meghan and the kids, darling boy. Prove to me how much you want this by exposing your family to threats. Charles is a deadbeat father and grandfather. And let's not forget, trash father, trash grandfather, and trash king. Yes, this squatty might be onto something, but he will be dead and down in those tombs before Harry ever put his family at risk for him. I said it, and nothing can make me believe any different. All right, y'all. Also, I want to play this little clip. It is some people over there across the pond is acting as if they have the ability to reason and see things for what they are. And this is a clip of Jenny Bond. I'm no fan of Jenny Bond. I know exactly who she is. I know all of the nasty things she has said about Diana and Harry and Meghan. But a broke clock is right twice a day. And this time she is right. So I want to play this clip and we'll talk on the other side.
So, again, it's fairly ambiguous even at this stage, because it's been made clear that he's not going to bring Meghan and the children to London, but that doesn't mean necessarily that they won't come elsewhere, albeit possibly Birmingham, where he's going to be doing the countdown from the Victors' Games, which I think Meghan probably will attend. And then as regards possibly bringing the children to meet their grandfather, the King, we've got Sandringham, got Balmoral, got Highgrove. There are places outside London where the door has been left open to that happening, but I think it will be very much in private. But you're right, it's all over security. For the life of me,
hear that former albino cockroach Nana, she absolutely was sighing because Jenny was telling the truth. Jenny did not stick to the narrative. And so she was over there sighing. And just so y'all know, the reason I call Nana the former albino cockroach is because of this. I'm going to put a picture up. This is the way she used to look. Yeah, she was an albino cockroach, and now she is just a plain old cockroach now. And looks like she's got a better wig. But I digress. Did you also hear the part where the narrative, they have yet to come to terms with the fact that Meghan is not coming to the UK. She is not coming. She has no security, but yet and still they keep grasping at straws. They want to make it so. And it's just not going to happen. And I love it for them because this is all of their own doing. This is all of their own making. They decided to get in bed with all of those vipers, those snakes, those scorpions, those lizard people over there at Buckingham Palace and Kensington Palace. And now they're left with the left behinds, people who absolutely could not draw flies. But yet and still, here they are, still trying to have their cake and eat it too. Yes, they want to try to continue the smear campaign, and they want Harry and Meghan to continue to participate in it. So they'll have something to talk about on their panel shows, and they'll have something to write about in their rags. And they'll have all of the iconic pictures that the Sussexes always create, and they can sell them for a mint to the world. Yes, they want their cake and eat it too, but they're not going to get it. They are just left with all of the leftovers. Yes, the left behinds. And like we say down south, the left behinds, they ain't shit. Why? Because at least shit can draw flies.
In private. But you're right, it's all over security. For the life of me, I cannot understand why this has been allowed to happen. I don't understand why he's not being given security. He feels he needs it. He is the king's son. His children are the king's grandchildren. He is a former army officer, by his own reckoning, who has killed 25 Taliban fighters. And as regards anyone who wishes this country ill, he still is probably a working royal. They don't know the difference or don't bother with these nuances of whether you're a working royal or not. He's a prince, he's royal, and he's a target.
Yeah, but he's not a working royal, is he? And he has got security. He has got security. He does get a level of security. It's not like he's going around without security. He wanted Ravik, which was the problem here. So he has security. He's not coming with no protection. But what he's complaining about is that he's not getting the highest level royal protection that he feels he deserves. But he's made it worse for himself, giving out kill counts as though he's not really bothered about the security of himself and his family, which is very dangerous. And also, a lot of people who look at this feel that he's just using the children as bargaining chips to get what he wants, which is rather unattractive.
Well, I think that's very callous to suggest that. I think that he feels that he believes his security team, who've drawn up a report who say that they've identified at least 6 terror threats against him and his family, 5 of which originated in the UK. He believes his security team, who say they've seen an al-Qaeda document calling for his assassination. He's not so perturbed about his own security, but he is about his children's and his wife's, particularly after what happened to his own mother. I don't think it's unreasonable.
I'm going to leave it there, but you can see what direction this is going with the former albino cockroach. Yes, the one I just call a cockroach now, and that would be Nana. She is willing to lie. She is willing to tap dance. She is willing to do whatever she can to try to be a part of that so-called society that they would never, ever have her to be a part of. She can tap dance, she can do whatever she wants to, but it's never going to happen for her. And she is so jealous of Meghan. She has even gotten a new wig just like Meghan. She has, ever since Meghan came on the scene, she has done everything she could to copy Meghan as well. They all want to be Meghan. And like I said, I am no fan of Jenny Bond, but Jenny absolutely pushed back. Jenny came with the facts, and Jenny stood on business. So, like I said, a blind squirrel can find a nut every now and then. This squatty said, I'm sorry, but this whole situation is effing trash. And that's the way I feel about it. I do. I feel like this is nothing but trash. And this, I have to confess, has changed me. I used to be indifferent to that family over there. I really didn't care for them, but I didn't dislike them. I just made fun of them because they continued with Harry and Meghan. But now I feel myself, I have crossed over. Even though I don't feel like I have a parasocial relationship with them, I don't like them. I don't. It has crossed over to dislike. And now that I cannot stand them and what they have done to Harry and Meghan and their family, I have nothing but smoke for them. I used to say when they stop, we stop. Oh no, I would never stop. I would never stop. Y'all tell me what y'all think about what I said, but yeah, because like I said, I used to be indifferent. Now I'm enraged. I hate to say it, but I am. But this squatty goes on to say the king, the UK government, the institution, the optics are all trash. We're talking about a British Army veteran, a founder and patron of the Invictus Games, saying he won't bring his wife and children to the UK because of security concerns. Think about that. Veterans deserve better than this. The founder of Invictus Games deserves better than this. Next year, the UK is set to host the Invictus Games. Every host nation has the responsibility to provide a safe environment for the games and everyone attending. Yet the conversation surrounds the founder's own family's security has become a story in itself. That's not something to celebrate, it's an embarrassment. And don't tell me this reflects well on the king, the government, or the institution, because in my opinion, it doesn't. It reflects like SHIT. The whole world is watching this play out, and the message isn't one of strength, it's dysfunction. That's effing trash. And that is the reason why I have changed. I have crossed over from indifference to disdain. Y'all tell me what y'all think. This squatter said Charles tried hard to convince the public that he is a sick grandfather who longs for his grandkids, but his evil son is what's keeping him from those ginger babies. Now, no one can deny that Charles quite simply do not care for his son and his son's family. Where is the lie? I mean, it is there for everyone to see. Charles doesn't care anything for Harry or Harry's children, his family. He doesn't even care for William and his family. He only has disdain for both of them. Charles is a lizard person. He is. He is dyed in the wool monarchist who only thinks about the survival of the crown. And whoever has to die for the crown to survive, they have to die. And if you think I am being hyperbolic, you have not been paying attention. All I can say is, Princess Diana, okay, yes, they don't care. And it might be the reason why they're trying to get Meghan to come over there across the pond without security. They might be planning an accident for her and those babies. And it's a good out for them if she comes without security, because then in return, they can blame her for her own death like they did Diana. Y'all remember saying Diana didn't want security? And then turn around and blamed her for her own death. And those rags turn around after attacking her and smearing her, made money off of her death. They did. And that might be what they have in store for Meghan if she takes the bait. And I don't think she would ever take that bait. It says, now no one can deny Charles quite simply does not care for his son and his son's family. Charles doesn't even care about William and his family. He only cares about Camilla and her family. And I believe he would off Camilla if he thought it would benefit him in some way. If he could get sympathy and become popular, he would do that. We are witnessing in real time in today's world the Game of Thrones. And Charles would conduct a red wedding if he thought he could get away with it. And y'all look up what I mean by the red wedding in the Game of Thrones. So, yes, Camilla to me is not safe, because if Charles thought it would benefit him, he would absolutely off her. You can't make me believe anything different, because these people are lizard people. Charles is a lizard person, cold blooded. It is all about survival. So, yes, I would say Camilla, she would probably be the last to go. But if he felt she had to go, she would go. And this squatty said, this is what the palace, the trolls, and the British media are all afraid of. And I believe that, because after Harry and Meghan announced their itinerary, and one of the things that they were going to do while they were in London was go to a children's hospital. And we all know how that went down under. Yes, it was absolutely amazing. And so after they announced that Harry and Meghan was going to this children's hospital, guess what? The security got pulled, because you can't make me believe that Harry did get some kind of assurances. He never would have released an itinerary. He never would have said that he would bring his wife and children to the UK. You can't make me believe that something was not promised to Harry. So, because of that, after the confirmation that Meghan and the children were coming and that itinerary was released, they absolutely decided that they could not have security. They had to shut it down because they did not want scenes like this. The subjects of the king and future King Dumizarok would have showed up for the spare and his wife, like they are not willing to show up for the rest of those left behind. And so they could not have it. They could not have it. So they shut it down. And I believe it was all about Australia. And this squatty said those two, Prince Harry and Meghan's visits, the Jordan humanitarian visit and the Australian visit, which the royal family and the UK media did everything to turn into chaos, have sent Charles and Willie reeling. The monarchy is a sponge that absorbs British economy, the entity that keeps classism alive, that divide the country into aristocracy and commoners class, all while being funded by the lowly commoners. That's in their view. A monarchy is nothing to want nor desire. It causes, it takes, it divides, it's against democracy, it's constant propaganda and misinformation, it's against the people. That's why Charles and Willie freak out watching the Sussexes give tangible and truly serve. Prince Harry's security in the UK is the only thing that can be used to punish him, going against the grain and truly serve and truly give. They would prefer seeing him harm than watching him give. Where is the lie? That's the conclusion I have come to. I mean, I really, really believe it. You can see it in real time, the ratcheting up of the hate in those rags, on those so-called news channels. You can see the hatred. You can feel it. I can feel it. It is just vibrating off of Charles and William towards Harry, Meghan, and those babies. That's why I'm glad they didn't get security. I don't even trust the security, to be honest. Look at this picture right here. This is the first time I saw this picture. Look at Diana. This is what they did to Diana and told us, fed us that lie that she did not want security. Zanny said this. She said they took away Princess Diana's security, killed her, blamed her for her death, and then proceeded to make money writing about it and feeding on her carcass. These are dangerous vultures. Where is the lie? Where is the lie? Look at her. This is what they did to her. Zanny says, I'm glad that the atrocious way Prince Harry is being denied security is on public record. They would love nothing more than to do the same thing they did to his mother, to his family. Exactly. Exactly. Look at Princess Diana. Look at her. This is what they did to her. And you think that they would not do it to Meghan, to those babies, to Harry? Yes, they would. This picture is heartbreaking. It is. Just look at her face. It's heartbreaking. I want to play this little soundbite from this gentleman. And I have saw him before. I don't know his name. Sometimes he's on the Jeremy Vine show. But he is always talking with good sense. Yes, he is always coming with what needs to be said. So I'm going to play the clip and we'll talk on the other side.
The media are obsessed with Meghan and Harry. Imagine, you tell me to go away, stay away from our country. We're not going to protect you. We're not going to provide security. Your wife is this, your children are that, you are this. And then I'm telling you that you must return to the country for more punishment, gossip and misinformation. What is this obsession? Like, the fact that this is breaking news, Prince Harry will not be joined by Meghan and children on the London trip. She already declared she ain't coming back. The place is not safe for her. He already knows that it's no way of coming back, because if anything happened to his wife and children, the press will act like they had nothing to do with it. They didn't harvest the energy. They didn't platform people who were told that we shouldn't care about them and we shouldn't protect them. Like, it's the worst, most obvious failing that can happen. And I think for so many dads and men, right, protecting your family isn't just like, I'm going to be Liam Neeson when trouble comes. Sometimes it's like, we're not going there. We're just not going. because we know energetically it's not a healthy and safe place. It's not a place where growth can happen, love can happen. There's no, like, nobody's there for you. Nobody wants you there. It's like, I'm gonna go do the objective and come back, but don't bring your family to places that aren't loving, warm, and safe.
He said what needed to be said, did he not? He did. He's absolutely peeped everything that's going on over there across the pond. He sees the plot, the planning, and the deception. He sees the treachery that is that family over there. And he pretty much said it. Yes, it is not safe for Meghan. It is not safe for those babies. And it really isn't safe for Harry. So I don't understand why these people continue to hold on, hope against hope that somehow Meghan is going to show up with her babies and not have security. Get real. Get really real. I mean, it is as if these people are totally and completely insane. But you all know what they say about the monarchy, that it is a cult. If you're a royalist, you're in a cult because you have to believe that you're supposed to elevate these people, give them money out of your pocket, and in return, you get to go down to the mall, stand behind a barrier, and wave a flag. And if you're lucky enough to meet one, you have to bow. Tell me that's not insanity. Tell me that's not crazy. Tell me that is not a cult. And I'm going to put this up. Zanny posted this article, and the title of the article says, "The real reason Harry and Meghan won't bring children to London to meet the king." Now, this was in iPaper, and it goes on to say, despite initial reports, the Duke of Sussex will not be joined by his wife, Archie and Lilibet. Zanny posted this article and said, one former Metropolitan Police firearm officer has claimed that there will be questions to answer over why such a high-profile figure is not being provided with security. And basically, I read this article. Zanny posted the link, so I went in and read it. And basically, that's what they're saying, that it is no excuse for Harry not to get security. And I agree that this has been chaotic. This has been really, really tough to watch, but it has all been necessary because one thing about Harry, he gonna put everything on the record. He is. And I really feel that him putting it all out there and putting it on the record, it keeps him safer. Not safe, but safer. And I say that because they know if something happens to him, the fingers are going to be pointing at them. Articles like this, they're receipts. They are something you hold on to because God forbid anything happened to our favorite prince. Articles like this are going to be so valuable. They can't say that nobody knew. It's all a surprise. He didn't want any security. They can't say any of the things they said about Diana. They can't because Diana didn't come out and put it on the record. Harry learned one thing from his mother's death, to put it all on the record. And this squatty posted that same article and said, if anything were to happen and there was no security provision, for it would be damaging for public confidence in policing and to the image of the UK. People would ask, on those grounds alone, I would expect security to be provided. Yeah, but Charles don't care. He feels like he can get out of anything because he got away with Diana. People who get away with stuff never think that they can't get away with the same thing again. They always say, I got away with it last time, I can get away with it this time. So, yeah, they really think that they can get away with it. I'm just saying, Harry, keep your head on the swivel. And just to give you some idea how diabolical and what a trash human being Charles is, He says he can't do anything to help his son, but he went to bat for one of the most notorious pedo priests that has ever walked this earth. His name is Peter Ball, and he was convicted of SAing 18 young men. Yes, he did that, and Charles went to bat for him. This Squatty writes about this and says Charles wished he could do more. Now, Charles is talking about in a letter how he wished that he could do more for this pedo bishop. And this is what it says. It says in 1995 letter, Charles wrote to Ball expressing sympathy, calling the allegations monstrous wrongs, and stating, I wish I could do more. In 1997 letter, Charles referred to one of Ball's critics and wrote, I see the horrid man off if he tries anything. Yes, very, very protective of this pedo, willing to get rid of someone, evidently, but not willing to protect his own son, his grandchildren, and his daughter-in-law. This tells you everything you need to know about Charles. And the squatty that pulled this receipt said, Charles wished he could do more to protect a pedo bishop, Peter Ball. He was even ready to see this horrid man off if he tries anything. This is the same Charles who is now using his position to stop Harry's wife and children from receiving security. Yes, another receipt, a very damning receipt. It just proves what we say each and every day, that Charles is a trash human being. He's a trash father. He's a trash grandfather. And he is a trash king. This squatty said, stop asking Prince Harry and Meghan to bring their children to see Charles in Britain, when Charles is the one who sought to deny them their birthright and prevent their security. When the Queen was dying, Charles paid for Andrew's security for F's sake. He cares nothing for Archie and Lily. Where's the lie? All he cares about is using them. Because let's not forget, he don't want to see them in life, but he wants them at his funeral in death. Y'all remember his funeral plans were leaked, and Harry, Meghan, and the babies are in the forefront of his funeral plans. Why? Because he wants the eyeballs for his funeral. In death, he still wants to use those children. In life, he don't want to have nothing to do with them. In death, he wants to use them to aggrandize himself. That's Charles. That's Charles in a nutshell. And it's time to understand who this man is. He's evil. He is. He is evil personified. This squatty said Prince William is an unremorseful traitor. He turned Diana's tragic death against her. He said she was paranoid and she hurt our family. Then he turned his ire on Prince Harry, Meghan, and their young children, betraying Diana once more, all for the crown. May he never be king. Exactly. But I got a feeling he will be, but it is going to be a bumpy ride because he is not a mentally healthy or stable individual. And that woman, that mannequin that he is married to, she has no morals. She has no North Star. She is willing to do anything. She is willing to put up with anything. She is willing to lie, steal, and kill in order to be queen. This is who he is married to. And he is mentally unstable. So I believe he will be king, but we are going to get a show. Get your popcorn, get your wine, because it is going to be entertaining. Zanny says this about Willie. She says how painful it would be for Princess Diana to realize the little boy she birthed and love grew up to be a demon worse than her biggest tormentors. Where is the lie? That's why I don't even understand how he can do this to his brother, because he knows what was done to his mother. But he does it with ease. In my opinion, it is something seriously wrong with Willie mentally. In my opinion, it is a untreated, undiagnosed mental illness, because you don't behave like this and you are mentally healthy. You don't have an obsession with your brother and your sister-in-law like they do and be mentally healthy. It is something wrong with both of them. Y'all know I've said this many times that Willie and Kitty are two different sides of the same coin. And in this particular case, that couldn't be more true. In my opinion, both of them have a malignant narcissistic obsession when it comes to Harry and Meghan. And it's not going to get better, it's only going to get worse. They're going to start to spiral more and more and more. I mean, we're watching it in real time. Two very sick people actively trying to co-opt another couple's persona. And it is so obvious to everyone that this is what's happening, and these two people are completely consumed in their obsession. It's pretty sad, it's pretty pathetic, but it is sick. And this squatty said, imagine being a billionaire and a future king, but you're so consumed with envy and hate towards your brother. No matter what you have, it will never be enough. And that right there is the root of the sickness. And this squatty said, what are the Rags going to do next week, as their meal ticket, the Duchess of Sussex, will not give them any stories? Hopefully she is safe and tucked away in Althorpe. Now, a lot of squatties think that Harry and Meghan are at Althorpe. I don't. I really don't. They're either in Portugal, and that whole story about them having a house in Portugal is true, or if this whole story about them being in Europe is true. I don't believe nothing. I don't. Now, I know People Magazine reported it, but People Magazine is not the most reliable. So I don't know where Harry and Meghan are, but I don't think they are at Althorpe. Y'all tell me what y'all think. But it says, with a family that loves her and her children and are not racist. Hope all rag journalists can't pay for their July mortgages. Me too. Me too. But yeah, they're disappointed. They are. They're crying, holding their stomach, sucking snot, rolling around on the floor. Yeah. And I love it for them. And this squatty said, Prick Moron expresses his disappointment at Duchess Meghan and the children not coming to London. He and his evil cohorts only disappointed because they will have nothing to criticize and be nasty about. Bet they had already written the lies that they intended to publish. So happy that they do not get their wish. Me too. Me too. I am loving it. And like I said, they don't even get the consolation prize of Squatty's salty tears, because we only have tears of joy. This squatty said the media vultures and the royal stenographers, rats, are disappointed because this was their only chance to ever see Meghan and her children in the UK, and Charles blew it. She will never come back, not even for the funeral, and they know it. I hope she doesn't even come back for the funeral. I mean, I hope they don't allow those children to be in it. I hope they let dead Charles stand on his own and not use those children, Meghan and Harry, to bring the eyeballs for Charles. And that's all he wants. He wants them to be there because he knows people will watch. I mean, even in death, this man is selfish and self-centered. Now, I'm going to post this because this squatty is saying because Harry is going to be in the UK, the whales have packed their schedules. Yes, they're going to be out and about. And y'all know, anytime, a normal time, I'll put it a normal time after Wimbledon, you wouldn't see Willie and Kitty no more to September, October. Why? Because Harry will be in the UK. And this is a repost. And the repost said the Yorkshire Whales are about to be outside next week. Wales will have a packed schedule of engagement next week, which will end with the traditional charity polo match and the Wimbledon finals. Yes, they are going to be out and about. Now, I guess when I said Wilmington, I guess I thought it was over. So maybe the finals are next week, but we won't see them after Wilmington. We will not see them until September or October, especially if Harry doesn't come back in town, and I'm sure he won't. So they are going to paint themselves invisible. Now, this squatty that posted this said, nothing gets them working more than Harry coming to England. And by work, I mean Wimbledon and polo. Brace yourself, peeps. We're about to be in some mess. And the squatty that posted this said, aw, Kate did all that walking and shaking hands for nothing. Not to worry, though. I'm sure that they'll be out in full force when Harry arrives next week. This is the most William and Kate have ever worked during the summer. Where is the lie? I just said that. And I'm going to put this up. This was posted on Willie and Kitty's Instagram. And pretty much Kitty is still on the bullshit. It says this time last week, completing the National Three Peak Challenge. A huge thank you to everyone who supported the Royal Marsden Cancer Charity. To find out more to donate, please visit, and then I'm sure that they gave the link. But we all know that this is nothing but bullshit because we know that Kitty cheated. We have receipt after receipt after receipt, and now we have a new receipt that shows that Kitty cheated. She did, which is on brand for her. And this is so typical Kitty. She has no moral core. It is all about how things look. She's willing to lie. She's willing to do anything to make herself look good. And we find this out over and over and over again. Not My King said this. This is unusual. A confirmation that Katie completed the challenge rather than doing it or carrying out the challenge. No mention of solo, secret, or smug. And have you ever seen a link on how you can actually donate with a dedicated land page, which can be used to monitor the success of her fundraising? It's a win-win for Katie. If she raises a lot, they can boast and repeat it if their other charities are deemed important enough. If not, we will never hear nothing. But it is a notable move away from highlighting and spotlighting to a specific request to donate. Will it work? Yeah, we will be watching to see if it works. Now, the word on the curb and me putting my ear to the ground, what I hear is it's not working so much. That donations have been disappointing. So I don't know. We'll see how it all shakes out. But yeah, people are not really taken to the fact that this woman who is married to a billionaire is out here peddling and not giving anything and wanting other people to give. But you know, that is the MO for that royal family over there. They never give anything. And if they do, it is a pittling. It really is. But we will be watching. You know, squatties, we will be watching because we're petty like that. And now that I have moved from indifference to disdain, I will be watching. And I'll tell you what, y'all remember when I started this segment and I was talking about Kitty and these 3 peak challenges and I said she cheated? Well, this is what I was talking about. Now, we can't prove that she had body doubles. We can't prove that she didn't trek up and down the mountains. We can't prove any of that. We can only speculate. But this right here is proof that she did not drive, and that is part of the challenge, to drive and then climb. But she did not drive, she took a helicopter. This is Henry VIII. She said the literal minute that it came out that there is 11 hours of driving included in the 3 peak challenge, I knew we would eventually find out about helicopters. Well, read this post. The palace wasn't honest about doing it solo, and it appears that she was flown between sites. But since it's not Meghan, exactly, exactly. Do you honestly think Meghan could get away with the lies that Kate tell on the regular? And here it is. I knew it. I knew she did not do the 3 peak challenge. It was all a ruse and a lie. And I believe it's more to come. She does nothing but lie. She always tries to take the easy way, the shortcut. This is who this person is. If we hadn't learned anything about Kitty, we have learned that she is a liar and a cheat. And it is proven time and time again with everything that she does. Zanny Sussex reposted Henry VIII and said, ha 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 ha, it gets even worse. Every single claim they made about Kate's fake mountain challenge is unraveling. It turns out she was helicoptered around. What an insult to genuine cancer sufferers and to everyone taking on the challenge without cheating. Kate and Kensington Palace really do think the public is mugs. Yes, they do. They honestly do. And every time they get caught up, or should I say, caught out. Yes, I knew she cheated. I knew she cheated. If you know anything about Kitty, if you have been observing her for any time and watched how she moved, you knew that this was all going to come out and it was going to expose her for who she is. She always get exposed. She is a liar. She is a cheat. She is immoral. She has no moral center, no moral core. And she is willing to do anything to make herself look good. This squatty reposted that same post from Henry VIII and said, they lied about everything. I'm going to say this again. Kate Middleton never had cancer or chemotherapy or anything that starts with the letter C. Everything about them is a lie. What you see is not reality. It is a play, an act. The only real one is Prince Harry, left that place years ago. Exactly, exactly. I am with this squatty. They are a pantomime at this point. Yes, they are characters in a play, and all of them are actors. You can't take anything, anything you see at face value when it comes to that family, especially Willie and Kitty. They are fakers, they are liars, they are willing to do anything. And if you don't believe me, let's think back to when they had a whole commercial airline flown empty to pick them up so they could absolutely pretend like they were flying commercial. Yes, they had the news media there, the flying monkeys, they all reported on it. Had George and Charlotte with the little bags. Everybody was getting on the plane as if they were flying commercial. Well, when it came out, this was nothing but a ruse, a lie. And it was done because Harry and Meghan had taken a private jet that was sent to get them by Elton John so they could come and visit him and get away from all of the chaos that Willie and Kensington Palace was creating around them. At the time, poor Megan was postpartum. She was feeling like she wanted to unalive herself. And so Harry and Megan got away and went to France to be with Elton John. Y'all remember that? And they made a huge deal about them flying private, even to the point where Elton John had to come out and defend them and say he sent for them. But Willie and Kitty saw that opening, and so this is how this whole thing came about, with the empty plane being flown in to pick them up so they could pretend like they were flying commercial. This is how far these people are willing to go just to look good. So these are the same people who would do something like that, fly an empty plane in, will not cheat on a Three Peaks challenge. Huh? Yeah, I got a bridge in San Francisco to sell you, if you believe that. And it is made of gold. I mean, come on. You know that they are cheap. So I'm not surprised by any of this. I'm not surprised she used helicopters. I'm not surprised she used body doubles. I'm not surprised it was microphones. I'm not surprised that she's making a documentary, a self aggrandizing documentary. I'm not surprised by any of it because this is who these people are. And Not My King posted this. Now, I don't know if this is real. I don't know if it's AI, but Not My King said, just passing. Yes. And the squatty that reposted it said, what a sham. How much did this propaganda stunt cost us? Yes, it is nothing but a propaganda stunt. And like I said, more to come out, I'm sure, because this is who they are. This is who Willie and Kitty are. They are fake, they are phony, they have no moral core. They'll do anything that they feel in some way might one up Harry and Meghan. And I promise you, that right there is going to be their downfall. The BBC wrote this article about this whole thing, and it says the BBC News Quiz of the Week. Why did Catherine, the Princess of Wales, climb? I guess they named the mountains. And this squatty reposted that and said, the question isn't why she climbed the three peaks, but did she? In my book, using a helicopter is cheating, and we now know that. Contrary to the initial reports, she was not alone. Yeah, yeah, I'm with this squatty. The question is not why, it is did she? And this squatty said, so a few days after the supposed world-changing hike, some people have unveiled that the Stepford wife had a full camera crew, a body double. Her brother, her brother was with her, multiple outfits, and a helicopter. Wow. Yes, wow is the word. I just think that if Meghan had pulled something like this and been exposed like Kate has been exposed, it would have been a global scandal. It would have. But it is crickets from that news media across the pond. And it is absolutely out there for everyone to see. If squatties can find this stuff out, if squatties can figure this stuff out, you think that news media can't? They don't want to. They're only interested in what is going on 5,000 miles away in Harry and Meghan's kitchen, what Meghan is cooking, instead of doing their job. I mean, this is a huge story, but they wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. I mean, I don't even understand why they can even call themselves journalists anymore. And this squatty said, breaking Superwoman Kate Middleton has today climbed Mount Everest in world record time. Kensington Palace gave us exclusive images. Here she is in the morning setting off from base camp, and then a few hours later nearing the summit with her Sherpa. What a woman! And look at the pictures. Yeah, I'm more inclined to believe she climbed Mount Everest than I am believing she completed the three-peak challenge.
Yo, shout the season, man. Shout the season, man.
Y'all, I'm getting messy. But I want to put this up. We only have a few more things I want to talk about. And Roy Nicka had the audacity to post this about the horse. She doesn't wish to live risk-free. She would prefer to be brave than safe. While Camilla's controversial meeting with J.T. Rowling reflects her approach to life and her role as queen and determination to stick to her principles, my royal read at the time. Well, we all know y'all do nothing but copy and paste. We know where you got the royal read from. But I digress. She is talking about the horse having principle. And let me tell you, the comments are epic under this post. I mean, they go in on the horse, and it's all well deserved because it is always a good day for me when I can drag the horse. This woman who schemed, connived, and bed hopped her way to be queen. I mean, she saw a little 12-year-old boy that had lost his mother, and she had no qualms whatsoever to use him like a rag doll, then feed him to the wolves in order to clear the way so she could ascend to the throne. This is the reason why I rarely call her by her given name and I rarely call her queen because this woman is so undeserving of any kind of respect. She's a side chick, she is a home wrecker, and a bed hopper. And that is who she is. She has never had a proper job. Everything she has achieved, everything that she has is because she earned it horizontally on her back. And I am not putting her down. I'm going to give her her props because whatever she does it well because she has schemed and connived all the way to the top. Yes, she has. And she has left them dead bodies, I mean, literally and figuratively, on the way up. And she never had a hint of guilt about any of it. And I saw, I think, an article where she had said that she would never forgive Harry for Spare and what he said about her. All I can say to that bed hopping hoe is, did he lie? Did he lie? I don't think he lied. It was no lies detected in Spare, especially when he was talking about you. And just remember, I'm sure Harry could have went in even harder than he did. For her to have the audacity to say that she would not forgive Harry after how she did his mother and was such a home wrecking hoe and destroyed his family life. And then on top of that, used him in order to get where she's at. And then she has the audacity to tell him that she won't forgive him. All I can say is in aristocratic circles, it would never happen. But down south, in the dirty, as we call it, if someone behaved like the horse, and broke up a family and then had the nerve to be out here talking and being arrogant about it. Oh yeah, it would be a arse whooping on sight. Or a good cussing out on site. And most of the time, it would be both. They would be cussing you out while they're beating your arse, to be honest. But I said all that to say this. She has the audacity to say that she will never forgive Harry. Can you absolutely believe that? That is just so evil. All I can say is, luckily, she is an aristocrat and not a Southern belle. And luckily, Harry is an aristocrat and not a good old boy. Because a good old boy would get his little sister, baby niece, to find you and whoop your arse. And this squatty said, just a reminder, this evil bastard is the worst father on the planet. Yes, I wanted to make sure I put that in. And Zanny Sussex just made it simple and just called Willie what he is. And that is Judas. And for my positive note, y'all know I love to end on a positive note. That would be this, the worst father ever. And this particular squatty just absolutely just says it all. A scumbag. Y'all, I always enjoy my time with y'all. I'm sorry I went a little over, but I don't know what has been going on with me. I just have had a lot to talk to y'all about. So I will try to do better next time. If you want to support the channel, plenty ways to do that. Y'all know, go down below, find the Super Thanks button. It should be right there where the three little dots are, and you click that, and there it'll be. Or you can support me by becoming a channel member and become a part of the reading club. The link is below. You can go in my bio. I think we have a Cash App over there. We have PayPal. Also, you can go over to patreon.com/the Royal Read. I also have a reading club over there. If you don't want to be bothered with YouTube, you can support me over there. Or you can just go over there and join for free because I'm always posting over there. So yeah, go over there and see what I am up to. Also, you can do buy me a coffee. That's at buymeacoffee.com/the Royal Read. So many ways to support if you choose to. If you choose to, I will always appreciate it. And if you have the hype button, please hype up the podcast because it helps so much. It puts the podcast out in front of new eyeballs, and that is the way we grow the channel and grow our community. I would appreciate it. So if you have the hype button, hype your girl up. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all a little later. Bye.